Okay. Gotta do that. We're on the right page. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, and today we are going to be discussing the principle of real leadership: establish trust and be trustworthy. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and get some cleansing breaths in so we can tell the brain we're getting ready to use you. Let's do this on your own. Inhale and exhale 3 times. Okay, a couple housekeeping notes. This is a learning live, so go ahead and gather some note-taking materials. I like physical note-taking materials. You can use digital. Whatever is going to help you learn and create new neural pathways, do what you need to do for you. Additionally, you will need a second device. Go use that device to go to the website, theturnarounddoctor.com. Click on the 74 Principles of Real Leadership tab, and then scroll down. We are in authentic right now, and today we're on number 5, which is establish trust and be trustworthy. How did we get here? I'm glad you asked. Number 1, neurogenesis. What is neurogenesis? It's the creation of new neurons. You add that and you get neuroplasticity, which is new neural pathways. And you put that together with personal accountability and you get to neuropability. And what that is you wiring your brain to use the 74 principles of real leadership to create unlimited neural pathways to hold yourself personally accountable to become your best day in and day out. So you can have your best days every single day. And best doesn't mean perfect. It just means that you have done everything you can to give you the best you that you can possibly do. That sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. Okay. And the final thing is that you had this frontal lobe, this amazing frontal lobe, and located inside of the frontal lobe, good morning, Regina, is the executive function. And that function is the CEO of your brain. So we're getting ready to use that in order for you to understand how to establish trust and to be trustworthy and what makes it so that you're not trustworthy. Once we go over that, we're going to do a couple cognitive activities. And from there, good morning, Sabrina. And then from there, you're going to talk about what you did yesterday. And then we're going to go ahead and get on up out of here and have an amazing day. Excuse me. So establish trust and be trustworthy. And I have been defining each individual word located in each individual principle of real leadership so you can understand the totality of each individual principle of real leadership. Establish. What does establish mean? The definition that I chose yesterday is this: to start something that will last for a long time, or to create or set something in a particular way. To start something that will last for a long time, or to create or set something in a particular way. Next on the list is number 2, and it's the word trust. Assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something, and then one in which confidence is placed. It's a pretty long definition for trust, right? Assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something, one in which confidence is placed. The next word is and. Used to connect words, clauses, or sentences that are to be taken jointly. Used to connect words, clauses, or sentences that are to be taken jointly. Be. To be or not to be. Okay, be. Occur or take place. Occur or take place. And then finally, and most importantly of all of this, is trustworthy. Able to be relied on as honest or truthful. Able to be relied on as honest or truthful. And here are some words that when we think about trustworthy, we're also thinking about these words. Authentic, which is the A in real for Real Leaders Wear Pink. Believable, credible, dependable, ethical, honest, and be honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Honorable. You think about me serving in the military, I had an honorable discharge. Some people get a general discharge, and some people get a BCD, which is a bad conduct discharge. And you don't want that. Definitely don't want that. Mature. Principled. Realistic, which is the R in Real Leaders Wear Pink. Responsible, sensible, truthful, and upright. And we watched the video yesterday of me talking about posture. So I'll review those words again. Authentic, believable, creditable, dependable, ethical, honest, honorable, mature, principled, which is the 74 principles of real leadership, realistic, responsible, sensible, truthful, and upright. And what I thought about after I received this extended definition of trustworthy is that's what I meant way back there. That's what I meant way back in 2008 when I was writing the book and developing the 74 principles of real leadership. So what questions, thank you for that. I'll address that in one moment. What questions do you have for establish trust and be trustworthy? Establish trust and be trustworthy. What questions do you have for the definition of establish trust and be trustworthy? And if you have a question, go ahead and ... So, Jana, here's the thing about thank you for your service. And I would just like to give everybody this information. So thank you for your service doesn't sit well with me because service is something that you get at a restaurant. Service is what my daughter provides when we go and build furniture. Thank you for your service was developed because when the Vietnam soldiers came back home, they did not receive a hero's welcome. They got spit on. People's like, fuck y'all, you baby killers. And they said all these mean and horrible things. So Americans decided, well, the next time our troops come home, we're going the established definition. Okay, let me finish this, Regina, and then I'll do that. So Americans decided, well, we have to pay homage and we're going to give our troops a hero's welcome. And so that's how thank you for your service was developed, because I couldn't figure out why when people said it to me, I was like, yeah, oh, yeah. And it really just got on my last nerves because I was like, service. And I know we say we served our country, but it wasn't service. So instead, say, thank you for your sacrifice, because I got out of the Army on April 11th, 2001. And I still have PTSD. I still have ringing in the ear. I can't use this hand. I got bad shoulders. I got low white blood cell count. I'm severely anemic. And and got bad knees. So I can't run anymore. So that's not service. I sacrificed my mental health and my physical health for 5.5 years so y'all could sleep at night. Okay, that's how that goes. So somebody coming to clean your carpet, somebody doing your nails, your hair. Yes, somebody doing and that's what I was going to tell you too, Sabrina. I just didn't have time in the email yesterday. So somebody doing all of that. And there are people worse off than me. There are people who didn't make it back home. There are people who came back with missing limbs. There are people who have severe PTSD. They need, the pets, the compassion pets, the service dogs, the service pets for them to just get up and walk around. So I don't have chronic pain. I got some shit that's fucked up. It is what it is. I think one of my doctors just told me you just got a strong constitution, because how the fuck are you still vertical? Only God knows. So it's actually sacrifice. And there are veterans who it doesn't bother them. And that's okay. My cousin was an E4. She went in, she went out. She was an admin, and she goes and gets her Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity on Veterans Day and takes full benefits of it, everything that's offered to veterans. And I have a hard time doing that because for me, I was SA'd in the Army. My company commander pimped me out for a year for some training land for the whole company to have. So I had to date Major Kemp. That was nothing sexual happened, but I still had his mama fed me, and he had to be on the phone with this motherfucker. He's showing up and shit. So the whole 250 people in the company can have training land. So it was sacrifice. It was not, I lived in a dead man's room on an Air Force base with non-potable water. Yeah, it was, I got, racially harassed and all kind of stuff for those 5.5 years. So it wasn't service. If I had to use some words, Service ain't and they're one of them at all. But hey, you get to live and tell the stories, and that's what life is about, experiences. So definitely sacrifice, not service, going forward. And I always tell people to ask veterans instead of just blanketly saying that. Say, well, what was your experience like? And then now they can tell you, well, it was good, it was bad, it was not. So actually have a question. I wasn't sure my parents had similar views as you. Yes. And they probably don't. And they may or may not, depending on what time they served and what. I mean, I was a military police officer, so as a result, I went. The MPs go where the infantry go. So I got pictures. I'm qualified on 6 weapon systems, from a 9 mil Beretta. They don't have those anymore, to a Mark 19 that shoots the big giant rounds. M203. No, that's my other weapon. Anyway, Mark 19 shoot 1,500 meters into the mountains. And so in when you, if you ever watch the movie Scarface, when he says, "Say hello to my little friend," and he blows that door open, that was my weapon. It's an M16A2 with an M203 grenade launcher on it. And I was so happy when I first got to Korea. I was like, oh, I got the Scarface gun. But that motherfucker is heavy. And all officers have to carry a 9 mil as well. By the time you put all that gear on, I switched weapons with my driver, because he didn't have to carry a 9 mil too. So I was like, nah, White, you're gonna have to take this. This is a lot. Carrying, rucks and all that. So I did road marches, stayed out in the field, been in the field 30 days, no shower, no nothing, and all of that. Battle rattle, go make stuff happen in the event that needed to take place. And then I was an executive officer, so I trained privates 17 weeks at a time. You know what I'm saying? I was on a range one day, and private, we was doing live fire. Private turned around to talk to me and pointed a live weapon at me. It's like, motherfucking, we drill sergeants was on him like, you trying to get it was. So yeah, it was traumatic, and that's that. So not necessarily service, but again, just ask the veterans, what was your experience like, instead of just saying that, because that statement was for the people who came home from Vietnam, not necessarily for us many, many, many moons later. Okay, now Regina, establish the definition for establish. Yeah, Regina establishes to start something that will last for a long time, or to create or set something in a particular way. To start something that will last for a long time, or to create or set something in a particular way. Okay. Now, where is trust located in the brain? Glad you asked. So trust is located in the prefrontal cortex right here. Okay? And it plays an integral role in the creation and maintenance of trust. It plays a role in that. Now, this is the region of the brain that's responsible for, my pleasure, that's responsible for decision making, analyzing risk, and social behaviors. And it's intricately involved in assessing the intentions and reliability of others. That's what the brain is doing. It's naturally doing that. How cool is that? It's like, and that gut brain is sending 400 messages to the frontal lobe, like, don't trust them. Okay, you can, but wait a minute. So it's assessing. If you allow it to do it, it's going to naturally do it. And this information is coming from the neuroscience of trust from the BRM Institute. This portion. And then through a delicate, so you got the frontal lobe up here, prefrontal cortex up here, executive function, all of that. And then this doing like a nice little Argentine tango with the amygdala right here located in the temporal lobe. And so there's this delicate dance between the prefrontal cortex and the brain's regions of the amygdala, which is linked to your emotions. And that trust is evaluated, and a judgment is formed based upon past experiences, cues, and innate instincts. And so if you have a hijacked amygdala, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to do the Argentine tango. You're not going to say, hey, frontal lobe, come on over here, baby. Let's evaluate what's going on. You see what I see? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to stay here, and you're going to make some poor choices. Or you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so in love. Let me get married to the wrong person. And then you're going to be like, what was you thinking? So that's what's happening. As these signals are going back and forth. And so this is now analyzing things, and this is like, this don't feel right. And this is analyzing things like, this feel good. We can trust them. I don't know. And they're like, no, but remember the last time? You might want to check that. Just give them a little minute. Give them some time. So they're going back and forth to determine if you trust this situation or if you trust these people. Kevin, you mentioned last week that you were like, something ain't right with this. And that was the amygdala saying, warning, 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 warning. And then your frontal lobe was like, all right, bet, I got you. Okay. Nah, we good. No, 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 no. That's okay, but perfect. The answer is no. So that is what's happening neurologically all day long, if you allow it. But unaccountable people will come in and fuck that all the way up. And now you're like, I don't know who to trust. I just don't know. That's where you got to get quiet. You got to say, hold up. Y'all trying to hijack my amygdala? I don't think so. That's why the answer for me. You trying to make me do some shit? No. I turn into a toddler. No. Then I throw something. No. You're not going to make me do something. I don't trust it. So the gut brain ain't going to lie to you. So you're using that frontal lobe and the amygdala, and they are doing this nice little dance. Yeah, but remember the last time somebody told you that. Don't you remember? Okay, cool. All right. No, it's all good. Yeah, we trust them. Yep, they ain't did shit wrong. Go ahead. And that's what's happening all day long. So you have to take the time to actually listen to what is taking place in order to make it happen. Now, why is it difficult to trust someone? I'm glad you asked again. Because of past experiences. When there is infidelity in a relationship and they're like, we just got to trust me. Say, what, bro? Nah, ma'am. And soon as that person starts doing anything remotely resembling when they were cheating, the person, the amygdala says, warning, warning, warning. They didn't answer their phone. It was 6 hours. And then they called back talking about I was at the gym. That's why I had to take a shower and I'm sweaty. No, I'm not speaking from experience. Anyway, now you're going, this feels like that. The last time was the last time. If you grew up in a household full of addicts like me, you get lied to all the time. And you just got tape after tape after tape after tape. Like, this is exactly what happened last time. So that's why, number one, and even if it's a different person, that feeling is there. Like, I might not trust this. And the next is fear of rejection. You go and have a big project, you think you're going to go do something, and then people say, nah, that ain't it. That's not it. And now you're like, well, no, I'm not going to do it because what if I get rejected? I can't do it. And then finally, emotional trauma. Emotional trauma. If you have not dealt with your trauma and you have not pruned those neural pathways and created new neural pathways, that trauma is going to be there. Now, sometimes you bury trauma. I was a soldier. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to push some shit down in order to make some other shit happen. But it's going to come up. And if it comes up and you don't do nothing with it and you press it back down again, you're instinctively not going to trust things just because of past trauma. Like for me, I'm not sitting with my back to the door group in the hood between that and the military. I'm not sitting with my back to the door. When we pull in parking spaces because of Frito-Lay and the Smith systems and the 5 keys, we pull them all the way through because it's an easier exit to be able to get out. We're not parking next to no vans with panels on it. Not at all. There's certain things that I'm just like, if you try to take me, you're going to have to work for it. You're not about to just be grabbing me because I've been an easy target. So that's there. But there are other things that I'm not, even though I've had a lot of traumatic experiences, it doesn't stop me from being a high functioning adult, because to be honest and to live my truth and to be transparent, and I have a PA that talks about shame, we're not going to use that against me. We're not going to let unaccountable people and their unaccountable antics trap me to the point where I can't trust anybody. I don't trust you. Not everybody, your ass is who I don't trust. Okay, I'm very specific about who I trust and who I don't trust. It's not like, oh, you just don't trust anybody. No, I got a list. I got a do not trust list. You know how Walmart got that don't let people come back in? I got a Dr. Donna don't trust these motherfuckers list. Nope. Not at all. Nope. It's not happening. So again, the 3 reasons why it's difficult to trust is past experience, fear of rejection, and emotional trauma. But the beautiful thing about your amazing brain is that you have the ability to prune all of that which does not benefit you. And because of neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and neuropability, you get to create new neural pathways that allow you to hear those 400 messages from your gut brain, pay attention to the amygdala and that nice little dance that it's doing with the frontal lobe, and you get to establish trust and be trustworthy and stay away from unaccountable people that ain't shit that you can't trust. You don't have to have them in your life. So what questions do you have in this one little piece of hair? I don't even have shea butter on. I wonder what that is. Okay, I digress. What questions do you have about where trust is located in the brain, and why is it difficult to trust someone? It's allergy season and my nose is itching. It's just one piece. And if you're thinking, for me, dot, 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 so I will know. So I will know. Right now. Got it. Okay. Now, how do you establish trust and be trustworthy? And the first thing is be honest. That's number one. That's the number one principle of real leadership in order to establish trust and be trustworthy. And I know establish trust and be trustworthy is one of the principles of real leadership, but the question is, how do you do it? Be honest. If you can't be honest, and I've mentioned this the other day, unaccountable people want you to be honest with them while they sit on a fucking bed of lies, wake up, put on lie outfits and everything else, but they want to be told the truth. Don't be lying to me. Like you a walking lie. Cut you open, lies just gonna fall out of your bloodstream. Be honest. And that's one of the most challenging things to do, is to be honest. Because unaccountable people make it hard as hell for you to be honest. But your personality is located in your frontal lobe. Who you are, for real, is here. They don't want you here. They want you here, all confused and all emotional and in your feelings. How dare you be the real you? How dare you tell the truth? Why are you telling everybody your business? Because everybody's business is similar to my business at some point in life. We all share some similarities in some way, shape, form, or fashion. How do I know? Because there's 6.8 billion unaccountable adults in the world. So you have been shamed, you have been traumatized, you have been made to feel inferior, and something has happened because there's too many unaccountable people in the world. Is it more severe for other people than some? Yes, but it's 50 shades of it. So be honest about it. Be honest. Today's Real Leader Brain and PA for today is about condoning. And condoning is basically excusing bad things and bad behavior and saying, let it go. Let it go. It ain't that serious. Why you just don't let that go? I even have a PA that talks about letting that go. So being honest about everything. That's everything. I just had a client with Nola yesterday, mounting the television, and he was like, wow, she already knows what to do. I said, she got a good parent. Now, me, on the other hand, I had to overcome a bunch of shit. I had a drunk daddy and a crackhead pill popping mama that married a pervert on the second go round. So that's some shit you got to overcome. I'm being honest. Don't look at my now, because you don't know my then. Yesterday, y'all looked at videos from 10 years ago, and it was like, okay, there is some progress going. So you have to be honest. And if the thought of being honest, you are now in a hijacked amygdala state and sweating and heart rate is influenced. And if you're older like me and you're going through perimenopause, you might even be having a hot flush or a hot flash. That's the problem. If you cannot be honest, nothing else that I'm about to say is going to matter. You got to ask yourself today, why am I having difficulty being honest? Who is stopping me from being honest? Because unaccountable people, don't you, that's family business. Don't say that. You telling everybody stuff. Don't nobody need to know about that. Don't be running your mouth. We keep that in the family. No, you don't. That's the problem. That's why nothing is changing, because we keep keeping shit in the family. Like it's top secret security clearance to be in this piece of hair. What the hell? Top secret security clearance. You need no top secret security clearance to be in your family? Absolutely not. The next one is keep your word. Keep your word. If you say you're going to do it, then you do it. And all of these are principles of real leadership. If you say, I'm going to show up, I'm going to be there, I'm going to do this, keep your word. Because if you don't keep your word, then you're not being trustworthy. Then you hold yourself and others personally accountable. Everybody has to be personally accountable in order for trust to be established and be trustworthy. Everybody got to be personally accountable, because if somebody is unaccountable, trust is gone. Amygdala is going to send a warning. They said they was going to do that last time and they didn't. And now they haven't kept their word and they're unaccountable. The next one is treat people with dignity and respect. You can't be trustworthy if you're disrespecting people. You can't. If you're disrespecting people, people are like, no, I don't know what you're going to say to me, about me, or nothing. Absolutely not. Next is handle conflict when it occurs. If some conflict pops off, it's your responsibility to handle it. If you don't, people are not going to trust you. They're not going to trust that if another problem shows up, you are going to solve it. So that's a problem. If you are in a conflictual situation, personally or professionally, you are going to go, nah, I'm not. We're having a family meeting. Are we going to solve it this time, or are we just not? Oh, we're having a meeting. We're having a team meeting. Are we going to solve it this time, or are we not going to solve it this time? Because if it's not, I'm not showing up to hear some more excuses. Fuck that. If you're not going to fix it for good, then no, I'm good. Be objective. In order for you to be trustworthy, you have to be objective. You make decisions based upon the facts. So in order, you behave in a factually objective way, staying in the frontal lobe. And then you have to be fair. You have to be fair when it's time to be trustworthy. I had 2 employees who got into a physical altercation when I was at the Sterling Heights Distribution Center, and I had to fire both of them. And Francesca was a great employee, and Mark was addicted to cocaine. They had a physical altercation, and the employee handbook and the contract says no workplace violence. And I wanted to keep her because she was part-time, permanent, about to be full-time. And then they had a physical altercation. Did he start it? Yes. And I did not want to let her go. But I had to be objective and I had to be fair. And both people had to go, and the team was mad at me. And then I had to pick for several weeks while I was hiring somebody else. That's how it goes. So people know, if you fight, if I had to let Francesca stay and not fire Mark, now I had created a current practice that people will use and say, well, you didn't fire Francesca. You let her stay. Now I'm going to have people beating the shit out of each other when they're supposed to be picking orders. So was it painful for everybody? It actually was. But the fair thing to do, and I told her, I'm going to say, yes, you can get rehired again in another year because it wasn't your fault. I know you were defending yourself. I understand all of that. But this is what it is. And it's sometimes that you got to take the hard right over the easy wrong. And it wasn't a great time in my life. I didn't sleep well the night before it had to happen. But those are the rules. Exercise tact. I was not a tactful person. I got demoted when I was in ROTC in high school because I didn't have tact. Sergeant Morgenstern showed me a very valuable lesson. So when you are establishing trust and being trustworthy, you need to use tact. That doesn't mean that if a motherfucker need to be checked, they need to be checked. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in general, you are using tact. The next one is apologize when you are wrong. People don't trust you because you can't admit when you're wrong. You just excuse, wait, you want dinner? No, I want an apology. I don't want a fucking piece of chicken and some damn greens. I want a fucking apology that you were wrong. So anybody that cannot admit that they were wrong is not trustworthy. You can't trust somebody that cannot admit. Why? Because it goes back to being honest and keeping your word. So people who say, but you said, yeah, grown folks fighting at work. I said he was on coke. We didn't know he was on coke. He had went on his break and took a bump and came back coked up. And she took his ass out. Yay, Francesca. Anyway, yeah, the part is, once I was made aware of it, I had to go and get them and make them leave. And he was so coked out his mind, he called me a black bitch. And if I hadn't did like this going in the warehouse, he kicked that warehouse door, that thick ass warehouse door, he would have broke my nose. And I didn't lay hands on him. So, hey, kudos to Dr. Donna. I did not. I was in Donna farm mode. And so I said, well, you go, both y'all suspended and you got to go, because he would have got his ass kicked by another black woman that night. Okay, that didn't happen. So yay to me. Okay, so apologize when you are wrong. Okay, that's what you have to do. Apologize when you are wrong if you're going to establish trust and be trustworthy. You're impressed that I didn't lay hands on the sick with the fivefold ministry. That's why I said it's about 176 people that could, catch these hands. But thank you, Jesus. So there you have it. Number 10, reprimand privately. You can't trust somebody who will berate you publicly. You can't do that. So that's going to create dissension and untrustworthiness. Number 11, talk to people and not at them. If you talk down to people because of superiority complex, you want people to feel inferior, you're using conformity bias and confirmation bias, or one of the isms, people are not going to trust you. And then embrace diversity. People say, oh yes, I embrace diversity. And then they try to sit your ass right into a box. Oh yeah, that's good, that's good. But how we do it here culturally, it's not a cultural fit. It's not a cultural fit. Okay, no, cultural fit doesn't mean stuck. Y'all saw the videos yesterday. I was trying to be Pepsi pretty and culturally fit in, and it was not coming across well. That's why I was only 9 videos like that. I'm like, yeah, we go. But there's a gray area where I could do this and be me and give the audience what they need. So embrace diversity. And at Frito-Lay, we used to have the saying called, what difference does a difference make? And if it don't make a difference, then who cares about the difference? Okay. 13 is be likable. And this isn't people pleasing. This is just be likable so that you can get along with everybody else. Laura Bush has the 50% rule. 50% of the people are going to like you and 50% aren't. Spend 100% of your time on the 50% that do. I am not trying to convince unaccountable people to like me so that they will start being personally accountable. Fuck you, okay? I don't care if you like me because you unaccountable and you the reason why the world is fucked up right now. So not real interested in you liking me. And yesterday on, I'm about to say Twitter, on Threads, somebody asked the question. They said, if your life was a movie, would you be a superhero or a villain? And I said, depending on the audience, they would say both. And then the person came back and said, which one is more than the other? And I said, it's actually a 50-50 split. It actually is. Because if I'm holding you personally accountable, you see me as a villain. But if I'm giving you real leader resources, you see me as a superhero. And Nola found out yesterday that I could be a villain in the midst of holding her personally accountable. So it actually is 50-50, depending on what the situation is. So be likable and still hold people accountable, but you're not going to try to acquiesce and make unaccountable people feel good, because that's what they want. And see, that's why I don't like your ass. And see, that's why your ass is unaccountable. And I don't really care that you don't like me, okay? Because you're unaccountable. It's not like we're going to cross paths. We're not going to be in the same circles because you in Loserville and I'm in the land of real leaders. So who fucking cares if you don't like me, okay? And then number 14 is communicate effectively. Communicate effectively is how everybody understands what's taking place, and you create this environment that's a safe space, as that's one of the buzzwords for now. So what questions do you have about how do you establish trust and be trustworthy? So what if reprimanding and it involves an unauthorized, it's done because it involves other people and you discuss with the previously private and they do it again? You got more coming. Reprimand privately means if you have to have a team meeting behind closed doors. So what I'm saying is not discussing it with people who are not involved. So we have had to have team meetings because everybody need to be checked. For example, the dump and run. People used to come in my office. Adam Bard, number top culprit, him and John McGinnis, used to come in my office. Yes, after being counseled. So what happens is they kept doing the dump and run. They would come in, tell me about the problems, and leave. And I'm like, that's not happening. So I had a whole team meeting. I brought everybody in, and I said, you ain't coming to my office dumping and running shit on me. No, I didn't say shit. Dumping and running no more. If you bring a problem to me, it's the 1 to 3 rule. You need 1 to 3 solutions as you bring this problem to me. And then if we need to implement something at the management level, that's what we could do. And what magically happened is the team started solving the problems between themselves because they knew if they came to me, number one, they was going to have 1 to 3 solutions for it. And because I'm accountable, I was going to make them enforce it. So when I'm saying it, if I'm not answering your question, let me know. But it's reprimand with the group of people who are there. And then you have the progressive discipline process if you are in a job. And if you are at home, Noah still had the progressive discipline process at home as well. So it's more about, I saw somebody getting a bad performance review at Starbucks one time because their sales numbers was down. That's where I'm like, that. So I think my first 60-second strategy is about that. So it's this public display of we're going to make you feel bad, because what happens is that's going to create animosity for future conflict, and that's not what you want. You want the situation to be handled, and you actually want to create an environment where people where trust is of it. Yes, and now I forgot about group emails. So yeah, so that's what happened. Yes. So it is putting, and so what happens is unaccountable people, and we used to do this in the military. If you were doing something wrong, we'd say, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't look the same. Who is it? And now you got somebody doing something wrong. So in rare instances, that might work. But overall, everything is done privately. So it's, yes. So rare instances, it's may be necessary. Like Nola with her water bottles, where she just refused, and she ended up with 27 or 29 water bottles in her room. And so I made her get recycle bags and put the water bottles in there, and she had to walk around the whole day with these recycle bags. She had to be like 7 or 8, 9. I know she was less than 9. And people kept asking her, well, are you doing a recycle program? And I said, no. She got all these damn water bottles in her room, so she walking around with them because they were in her room. And to this day, at 22 years old, one water bottle at all times. So sometimes you got to take it to an extreme, but at the initial onset, it's private. And then through progressive discipline, it may need to become public, but not initially. Not at all. Because you actually want to modify the behavior and not necessarily, and again, it's feedback. No, don't feel bad for Nola. Absolutely not. Nope. Because I've got 7 levels of everything. So I'm very calm and peaceful until I'm not. So Nola elevated us to that level. And at one point she had food in her room, and there were ants in her closet behind that. So yeah, don't take, everybody always take Nola's side, but you got to add, they always say there's a crazy African-American woman there. It's like, but who made her crazy? How'd she get there? What was the tipping point for her to get crazy? So no, Nola, I'm so calm. If you think about a bull is just calm until a bull isn't. You start poking at a bull and bull starts seeing red, you did something. So the bigger question is, why did Nola have 27 water bottles in her room when the room was always one water bottle in her closet and everywhere else? So I see people saying, look at the teenager's room, stuff on the floor. She had stuff on the floor. I threw it away. No more stuff on the floor. So I didn't have those issues that other people had with teenagers. I had some other stuff because she is a strong-willed person. But there you have it. Okay. So no questions. All right. So now we are going to go to the website. You're going to go to social media. And you're going to go to, in the heat. Damn, my fan is all the way over there. Okay. I'm going to go get this while you get the fan. Okay. So there is a 5-minute video today that we are going to watch. It is, so you're going to go to the turnarounddoctor.com, go to the social media tab, go to the YouTube option link. And then from there, as soon as you get on the home page, you have Dr. Donna's Desk Talk. And I have on a gray t-shirt. It's the first video there. Leadership development. And it is 5 minutes. And yes, is necessary. I've weighed the options on this. And so you're going to watch the leadership development video for Dr. Donna's Desk Talk. Again, the turnarounddoctor.com. You're going to go to the social media tab. Once you're on there, you will click YouTube. And then from there, you're going to watch the leadership development video. And once you're finished with it, go ahead and type what resonates with you. Our heat is on for Nola's sake, but I'm having hot flash, so I'm about to go get my fan and plug it up. I didn't turn it on. I'm dying. on these things. I got a whole 2 fingerprints on there. Why is it going? Cameron, between 18 and 22, you was mean. No, that is not the takeaway. Delete that message. But to the point of your video, you had to adjust to your surroundings if you want to remain in leadership. Got it. Between 18 and 23, I was at 19 and 22, I was actually being SA'd by my stepfather. So that's part of the reason why that was misdirected anger. So as soon as I put an end to that, I was free. So that trauma was causing me to have problems everywhere else. So I couldn't be an effective leader because that's what was taking place for me in my personal life. But yes, I agree. I had to stop. So I had to put, because it was impacting me. Hearing this video on leadership made me think about my experience trying to navigate a specific administrator and not me being flexible or wise enough to seek suggestions for dealing with this. Got it. As we know, be flexible is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Overbearing and sometimes vindictive principle. Yep. And what happens is, what I'm now that I'm soon to be 52, what happens is the unaccountable things that happen to you show up in different ways. And when you have a mean spirited evil person, none of us come here mean spirited. I know they're saying 1 out of 4 people are sociopaths. I get it. That's debatable. But what happens is, when somebody is mean or overbearing, all the people who are in the HOA that they're going to make sure you do to the letter of the law, even people who assault you, you have to ask. And that's the email that I sent to my sibling and my mother and her husband in November of 2023. As I said, who hurt y'all? Who hurt y'all that y'all all decided to hurt me in different ways? Let's have a discussion about that. Let's literally sit down. We're all senior citizens. Let's not take this to the grave. Let's not die with the lie. And no one wanted to have those discussions. And that's why you can't be trusted, because you can't be honest. You can't be honest because of what took place. And I have that PA that says shame is a weapon that's used against you. So you can't say what's actually going on. And now this weapon is being used against you. And so if somebody keep using a weapon against you, you're going to be angry. You're going to be mad. You're going to lash out. And Sabrina, you said it's okay to admit something requires correction to moving forward. Exactly. Because one thing about people being in leadership positions, once they put their leadership facade on, once they get in a leadership position, then they want to make it seem like everything, to quote Sheree, is berries and cherries. And you have to say, I'm still a work in progress. I am still a work in progress. I am not perfect. I am better at 51 than I was at 18 to 23, but I still have a lot to learn. And God willing, I'll be here another 40, 50 years and I can continue to learn that. But this whole notion of you are a leader and this is what it means. And it's not, well, we got to give them some grace because they're a leader. No, apologize when you are wrong is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So you can't keep just doing bad shit and saying, well, that's just how it is. No, that's not personal accountability either. You have to say that I've done something wrong, or you got to fix you first. And so imagine if I have never freed myself from all the things that were done to me abusively or otherwise, and now I'm 51. Imagine who I would actually be. And to your point, Kevin, I was mean. I was actually mean. And now I'm not. I'm stern when I need to be, but I will crack a joke. I'll give you the shirt off my back. You come to my house, I'll give you a great meal. All of those things, because you have to fix you first. And that's the problem. People don't want to fix them. They want everybody else to fix themselves. But as I have said, you are the CEO of Me Incorporated. So if a business is losing money, what do? They bring everybody in and say, we losing money, y'all. Shit, we going to be out of business. But if you are losing your mind, you need to meet with you. You actually need to meet with yourself and say, we losing it right now. This is not going to work. We are not high functioning. We are not at our best right now. So we got to put some systems and some strategies in place and create some neural pathways so we function as a unit. I am the CEO of Me Incorporated. So Me Incorporated has to get things done. And you have to be able to admit where you need to be flexible, what is taking place. And that's why you have to fix you first. And so that takeaway as well from that video is that I am not the person that I was from 18 to 23. I am a work in progress because I am constantly fixing me. I am, if you think about an old house, if I was a 51-year-old house, how many water heaters have I had? How many shower heads and toilets have been replaced and plungers in the toilets? A couple dishwashers, a couple refrigerators, a couple stoves. So to keep the upgrades going, and sometimes you just need to do a whole remodel. And Kevin, you've done that, just dismantled it and built it again. When you think about it from that perspective, you're always fixing something and improving as a leader. And that's what makes you a great leader. The fact that when the Blitz was happening, Winston Churchill went down, cried with the people, helped them rebuild. He was there, boots on the ground, saying but they're not. They're testing our resolves, and we're not acquiescing. So that's what has to happen from a leadership perspective as well. Is you have to see yourself as the CEO of Me Incorporated, so that you can actually begin to be a thermostat, and definitely set the temperature. Don't take it. But it starts with you. No, you said I've had to develop my leadership. Being a leader actually comes from developing yourself to become a better one. Yes. And that's where it is. So it's easier for unaccountable people to say, you the one in charge. See, that's why I ain't in charge. You are. You are in charge of your life. Your government ID says you're responsible for you at a minimum. If you don't have a spouse, you don't have children, you don't have pets, at a minimum, you're responsible for you. And that makes you a leader automatically. As soon as you get 18 in most states, where that's the age of majority. So that's the whole purpose of understanding what leadership actually is. When Nola was, I think in middle school, we were having a conversation about being a leader and over dinner, and she was saying, no, I don't want to be a leader because every time something goes wrong, it's the leader's responsibility. And I said, no. That's the problem. Is unaccountable people have said, well, I ain't in charge, so it's not my fault. It is. Francesca and Mark had a fight. What does that have to do with me being the farm, the facility operation manager? Them two grown people decided to get into a physical altercation at the job. How is that on me? Everybody else was picking. I was in my office doing work, and now they're in a physical altercation. So that had nothing to do with me. And Mark was on coke, unaccountable, because the Frito-Lay had a zero tolerance for drug policy. So he high at work. There you have it. So unaccountable people doing unaccountable things, and now they want to say, well, it wasn't my fault. It was, because you are the CEO of Me Incorporated. Okay, so today, what did you learn? What did you learn? We will do the A&Q tomorrow, but I felt that it was necessary to watch that leadership video. Tomorrow's Friday. And I don't know who needs to hear this, and I hate when people start videos out with that. But if you got shame, you got to let that shit go. You really do. Do not let these unaccountable people let that shame be used as a weapon against you, and you just sitting in your shame. They say you're as sick as your secrets in Al-Anon. So whatever it is, let that shit fall apart. I got a t-shirt that says that. It's everyone's responsibility to take accountability for themselves. It is. And that is the issue, Sabrina. That's why I said it's 6.8 billion adults being personally unaccountable. Blaming, because I could literally, I got probably a list of like 200 things that I could say. Well, it was because, and well, it was because, and well, it was because, and that's just how it is. And I ain't about to let nobody. I was nice once, and people was walking all over me. So fuck that. Ain't nobody gonna walk all over me no more. No, it was unaccountable people with their hijacked amygdalas and their own trauma and everything else, and their unwillingness to wire their brain to be personally accountable. That's the issue. We could look at the external situations, but I have to make personal choices every day, and I choose good over evil. Because I got the great makings of I could have been a drug kingpin, I could have been an evil villain, I could have been a serial killer, a bunch of other stuff. Use it. Well, what made him a serial killer? Well, his mom has brunette hair and she neglected him. It's all. So you're doing the profiling of him, and now this is trying to explain away. No, this person has some trauma happen, and they decided they was going to use that as a reason to continue to go harm other people. And the saying is, hurt people hurt people. You got to fix you first. It's your responsibility to fix you first once you become an adult. Say that again about the shame. I have two people that gaslight and manipulate situations to trigger others, and then when they are attacked, they play the victim. Yes, so shame is a weapon, and it is used against you to keep your mouth closed so that they don't have to fix themselves first. So they're going to do that exact thing because they want to not be accountable for what happened to them. And it's actually, they don't, as I asked my immediate family, who hurt you that you're hurting me? Let's get to that. And at that point, my sister is 3 years older than me, so she probably was 54. And then the parents are 23 years older than me, so they were 74 because they're 20 years older than her. So you're talking about people who are 54 or 74 unwilling to fix themselves at this point with one foot in the grave and still unwilling to do it. So that shame is used against you so you won't make them deal with their shit. That's what it's there for. So everybody just keeps passing it forward. We talk about generational curses, but this is a people curse. This is a humanity curse where, nope, we're not going to deal with our shit. We're going to tell you fucked up. Don't worry about my fuck ups. We're paying attention to yours. Smoke screens and mirrors. So do not allow that shame. Tell the truth. My sister still to this day will not talk about locking me in the closet at 5 years old and telling me I was adopted and physically abusing me, beating me up. Because I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why. But I'm like, I was cute. Y'all saw my 5th grade photo before. Like, what the, why, how? I was sitting there sucking my thumb. Why am I getting beat up by this 8-year-old up until she was 16 and I was 13? 8 years of abuse. Insane. It was, but it's okay. Because on the other side of that, so that's what they were doing. But what was I doing? What was I doing while that was happening? And so that's my whole point, is you could use that as an excuse, or you could say they're unaccountable, but I'm still going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing. Well, until I got big enough to fight back, and then she resorted to verbal abuse. But the bigger point of that is I never let that stop me from progressing forward. And as soon as I was made aware of what was taking place neurologically, I changed. Yes. So Kevin, you said learn. Being a leader requires constant updating. It does. So think of being a leader as the algorithm. So if you think about Google and what it looked like, what Google looked like 15 years ago versus now. It's constant. If you see an old movie and they're like, we're going to Google it, you're like, damn, is that what Google used to look like? And the internet used to look like that? So it is this ever evolving thing that you do. Is grow continually, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Now, Regina, you said your leadership video has stood the test of time. Establishing trust occurs in the frontal lobe. I didn't know that. And I didn't know that either. And so I'm showing you those videos as well, because that video is from a year ago, but the first video was with me with the suit, and it's some that was 11 years ago. They just didn't get in the playlist correctly. And I'm showing you all of that so that you can understand where you are now versus where you are later in the future. So I'll end with this, and you can type, what did you learn about yourself today? Nola and I did not get to sleep until about, 11:30 for me. She probably went to bed at 1. Because since Nola was in the 8th grade, she has not been communicating effectively. And it is something that she has been consistently resisting. So she's working on all her other things. We call it a defective character in Al-Anon. And I have drawn a line in the sand, because I'm saying you need to communicate with athletes, their parents, coaches, and everything else physically. She could do it online. Please tap, 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 tap. But this physical thing, so this communication is not where it needs to be day to day. We mentioned that before. And so yesterday, line drawn in the sand, she decided she gonna pop off. I know, right? She go pop off and just keep resisting. And so me, and as I mentioned earlier in the live, I could be the superhero or I could be the evil villain. So remember the sentence that we said that you said you liked, Regina, let me gather my thoughts. And I've been bringing it to her attention for 2 days. Hey, you haven't said, let me gather my thoughts. Oh, I don't need to do that because I know what I'm about to say. I don't need to do that because I know what I'm about to say. And trust, you learn trust comes from truth. And I told her, I said, you need to say it now so you can get accustomed to saying it. So she decided for 2 days she wasn't going to say it. Okay, bet. So now her amygdala is hijacked because she had an appointment come in. I was asking her questions. She came upstairs, and you asking me 3 questions. And I said, all right, bet. You ain't taking personal accountability for this? Watch this. I'm about to hijack the shit out of your amygdala. So for about 35 minutes, she had to endure an amygdala hijacking because I said all you had to say was, let me gather my thoughts. You came up here telling me what I did and everything else. I said, you better bend the wrist, take your ass, go look in the mirror, because you're talking to the wrong person. And then finally, after, and she's like, just be quiet. I'm like, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm just getting revved up. Now I'm laying in the bed, light off, killing it. Amygdala, she all over the place. Stop it, stop. No, that's what you always do. Yeah, exactly. I am handling conflict when it occurs, and you are at a high level, but I just got to turn up the heat because I'm the thermostat in this doggone situation. We're going to handle this conflict tonight. We are not going to sleep until you do the right thing. Finally, she calms down, blaming me for her GABA's being up and everything else. I said, see, this is why you know you and your amygdala, because when you're wrong and you and your frontal lobe, it's calm. I apologize, and we move on. So what she came to the conclusion was that she has been avoiding communicating effectively because I do it what appears to be effortlessly. I'm like, have you met my parents? I had to work to be able to do this. And so for her, it's how far away she is from effective communication based upon me. And so I told her, I'm 29 and a half years older than you. And I said, would you prefer to have parents who don't know what to do or who does know what to do. Because now you're saying, because I'm a good parent and I'm teaching you how to do these things, you're mad because I know how to do them. But I said, would you prefer that I didn't know how to communicate effectively? And now you need this for your second business and you can't. And so what we got to was, she understands that this is for her. I said, first of all, we're not in competition. And I am creating run rate for you so that you'll know what to do when you're in your 50s. That's what this is about. And additionally, you're creating the neural pathway to communicate effectively for you. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You need to learn how to communicate effectively for your second business, independent of me. So after all of that, we finally got to the root cause of what was taking place. And now she understands, and starting today, she understands that when she is calm, let me gather my thoughts. So when the amygdala gets hijacked or the GABAs get up, she automatically knows to say, let me gather my thoughts, get out of my hijacked amygdala, go to my frontal lobe and solve whatever it is that I need to solve. So that is why I said I could be an evil villain or I could be a superhero. Either way, it's situationally dependent, which is what my dissertation was on, Robert Northhouse path goal theory, because I am going to do what I need to do in that situation to prove a point. And at no point did I even physically stand up. I was still laying in my bed while all that was happening. That's why I said, don't fuck with me, because that ain't gonna bode well for you. I choose to use my skills for goodness and not for awfulness. Okay, Kevin, I learned that these morning lives are the updates I needed. Well, great to hear. And Regina, I learned that establishing trust and being trustworthy is something that happens daily while interacting with others. Okay. Yes, and is that y'all answering the question that what did you learn about you today? Is that the question that we're answering? Because I think both of them. And there, Sabrina, if you're still here, what did you learn today? I don't think I see. So the moral of the story is this, ladies and gentlemen, and the real leader principle that you will be using today is to establish trust and be trustworthy. So you can start listening to your gut brain as it's sending you the message and really just start assessing who you trust. You know what I'm saying? If you got to go through your phone, you got to go through your house, go through the job, and go through the appointments and stuff and be like, who do I trust? Who don't I trust and why? And assess that as well. And Sabrina, you said, I learned that we can't hold on to shame. Let it go and it can be used against you. Exactly. And so you want to keep telling your truth until it isn't painful anymore. And so it may seem like I am disassociated with how much trauma I have. And sometimes it gets to me, not to the point where I will raise up and go get somebody. I'm not doing that. But the more you tell it, the less power it gets. And to the point where you can just say it in a conversational tone. And it's like, well, how could that be true? It's because I'm on the other side of it. I can describe what took place and all of that, and I'm moving on because it's no longer something that I'm carrying. I'm not carrying their issues with me. That's their issues. I don't have anything to do with that. And because I know that it's neurological and it's unaccountable people unwilling to fix themselves, then it's not a cultural fit and I can just move on. And now I don't have to maintain contact with you knowing what has taken place, the abuse and everything. Because what I'm doing is I was condoning it and saying, well, it wasn't that bad and people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. No, not a repeated mistake for 4 years and for 40 years and for almost 50 years with my mother. That shit ain't a mistake. That's fucking part of your personality now. That's who you is. Point blank, period. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, check your trust. Check it and see if you are trustworthy and if you are not. And above all, if you don't take anything else away from this today, be honest. Do not let unaccountable people stop you from being you. Who the fuck are they? That they gonna stop you from being who you are because they don't want to be who they is. That's on them. If they don't want to fix themselves and they don't want to be trustworthy and they don't see themselves as the CEO of Me Incorporated, that has nothing to do with you. You came here to do what you came here to do, independent of them. And you get to be the real you. Do not let them stop you from being you because being you makes them uncomfortable. Your truth makes their lie uncomfortable. It should. It actually should. They should feel bad for not living their truth. That's on them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. So be honest, be honest, be honest about where you are in life, because if you're not going to go where you need to grow. It's not going to happen on no day of the week. Okay? All right. Does anybody have anything else for me before we get out of here? I have to go and take my shower and get ready for the 7th Avenue couch. You are the CEO of Me Incorporated. Be honest and establish trust and be trustworthy. Y'all hear that dog barking? All right. Everyone go off and do great things today. Have a terrific Thursday. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same face, different t-shirt. You all take care. Adios.